sorry, I don't know why that happened. Let's try that one more time.
Pressure pushing down on me, pressing down on you. No cure is for under pressure that brings a building down, splits a family in two, puts people on the streets. Oh, my baby, oh, my baby, hey there, hey there. Pressure pushing down on me.
All right, so that is just, sure, that's not even dealing with any kind of mood changes that happen. So let's talk a little bit about what PMADs, we refer to them as perinatal mood and anxiety disorders, are. We're going to learn about PMADs. We're going to learn about PMADs and the BIPOC community specifically. We're going to talk about implications of untreated PMADs, and we're going to understand our treatment options. And most importantly, identify ways that all of us can help. What is it? I love this illustration. It's from one of my favorite books called Good Moms Have Scary Thoughts. Karen Kleiman wrote this, and it's really one of the most accessible books out there. It talks about the different kind of mood changes that happen, and it has these beautiful illustrations that are so real. So this mama here is just saying she doesn't feel like herself. That's not who she used to be. And this is exactly what we are talking about when we're talking about perinatal mood and anxiety disorders. This is not who you feel like you used to be. She says, I'm nervous all the time. I can't stop crying. I don't know what's wrong with me. Is this what being a mother feels like? Perinatal mood and anxiety disorders are any type of unfavorable or devastating mood changes that occur pregnancy or postpartum. So when we're saying perinatal, we're talking about the pregnancy all the way up until definitely the first year postpartum. Some would argue up to 2 years postpartum. They can include depression or anxiety, obsessive compulsive disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, bipolar, or psychosis. This is the #1 complication of pregnancy of all of the other things. And mental illness is the #1 reason that women and birthing persons die. 1 in 5 women and birthing persons are going to suffer. It doesn't discriminate. So let's start first with pregnancy. I think a lot of us are under the impression that pregnancy is almost protective. You're so cute, you glow, you look so happy, everything must be great, but it's not protective. Stress hormones like cortisol can cause a lot of issues. They constrict blood vessels. Maternal stress can decrease the placenta's capability and capacity to protect baby from elevated stress hormones. Existing psychological disorders will either stay the same. A lot of times they tend to worsen during pregnancy, especially when we are dealing with anxiety. PMADs are twice the rate of gestational diabetes and twice the rate of gestational hypertension, and those are screened for at every single visit. You're looking at 6 to 8% with diabetes and hypertension, and you're looking at around 15% with perinatal mood and anxiety disorders. It also poses an increased risk for preterm delivery, C-sections, low birth rate, small for gestational ages, NICU, preeclampsia, and again, back to the elevated maternal and neonatal cortisol. Postpartum, we're going to talk more in depth about that. There are varying types, there are varying degrees and severity. The main thing to remember is they really all need to be treated. They can really last indefinitely if we don't.
I think the biggest myth, the biggest falsehood about motherhood after you have a baby is the postpartum piece. Nobody talks about it.
When this baby came around, I was hit by a bus.
I noticed I was really irritable. I felt down. I was angry. I would lash out. There were a few nights where I really didn't have a wink.
It affected my relationship with my kids. It affected my relationship with my spouse. And it affected the way I interacted with my parents because I didn't want them to see what was happening.
Talking about postpartum depression, postpartum psychosis, any perinatal mental illness is extremely, extremely important.
I think it's more common than we think it is, for sure.
Do not be fooled to think that it's just an individualized issue. It affects the entire family.
All right, let's start first and let's talk a little bit about the baby blues. I hear this term thrown around a lot, and the baby blues is a real thing. This is happens to about 80% of our new moms. And this is that mild mood adjustment. This is what happens right after the hormones have crashed, you know, your body hurts, breasts become engorged, the sleep deprivation, all of this contributes to what we refer to as the blues. That adjustment from the time that you've delivered to going into the postpartum. It can be an onset of immediately postpartum, right after you deliver, or anywhere up into maybe a week. By about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks max, it's not the blues anymore. So the roller coaster of emotions, if they are still feeling like they are on that roller coaster, or they are just not feeling like themselves, this isn't the blues anymore. This is when it's bleeding into something more that we want to make sure that we treat. So symptoms of the blues are crying, the moodiness, the sadness, guilt, sometimes the lack of concentration, worry, and again, the causes being all of the things that we talked about before. Very, very normal, the blues. Not fun, but normal. Again, if mom or birthing person is, you know, we get to that 2 to 3 weeks, they're not on that emotional, or they're still on that emotional roller coaster, or they don't feel like themselves, or maybe they were dealing with this during pregnancy, that's when we want to look at things like depression, anxiety. So depression and anxiety, I have them on the same slide because so often I see them going hand in hand. I will typically see that one is more prevalent, but it's really hard to not be depressed when you are constantly anxious. And it's really hard not to be anxious when you're constantly feeling depressed. So depression, feelings of anger, irritability, lack of interest, maybe in baby, yourself, things that used to be exciting to you or bring you joy no longer do. Appetite, sleep disturbance. When people say, Christina, I just had a new baby, how do you expect me to sleep? When I think about sleep disturbance, I mean, even when you can, even when someone's there and they're like, I'm going to help you by, you know, watching the baby, you can't, because you can't quiet your brain. You can't actually allow your body to relax. So the sleep disturbance, the appetite, maybe she's overeating, not eating enough, feelings of, you know, possible thoughts of harming baby or yourself. Anxiety, constant worry, something bad might happen, those feelings, the thoughts, inability to sleep when you can, the appetite issues sometimes, and maybe that inability to sit still. I always have to be doing something. I'm hypervigilant right now. Obsessive compulsive disorder. This is a special branch off of anxiety. All of the information that I'm giving you too, by the way, these statistics come from Postpartum Support International, which is like the gold standard for professionals as well as families that are experiencing perinatal mood and anxiety disorders. So about 3 to 5% of our mothers and birthing persons are going to experience this special type of anxiety, this OCD. I happen to see, I feel like I see more of it, but this is what the statistics tell us. We all have thoughts that are intrusive, right? So maybe we are driving down the road and there is, you know, a car in front of us that has a whole bunch of logs on the back, and you think, oh my goodness, like what if those logs like fell off? And you think, oh, that would be horrible. And you just change lanes and then you don't think about it. That's it. So in the case of a mother or birthing person that experiences OCD, that would be an example of something she can't stop thinking of. In fact, I'm thinking about it so often that it's probably better that I just don't drive or like even get in a car, because what if I'm behind one of those trucks again? So these obsessions, these intrusive thoughts, these scary thoughts, And that is a very mild sort of example. These intrusive, scary thoughts can be really horrific. They can also be sexual in nature, which is even more terrifying for the mom or birthing persons. These obsessions typically lead to compulsions. So behavior to help make the thoughts go away, or at least in hopes of doing that, or at least to quiet them. So because I am worried about, driving, I am no longer, or because I'm worried about something happening in the car, I'm no longer going to drive. Or I am going to make sure that I continuously am checking what I'm concerned about, because if I continually check on it, it will give me a little bit of peace of mind. So that repetitive behavior, the cleaning, the hand washing, counting sometimes. I'm going to go looking around the house, making sure everything, again, is okay. Fear of being left alone with the infant because of these intrusive and scary thoughts. So the mother birthing person is making a point of taking extreme measures to protect her infant, to protect the infant, to protect the baby, her family. And the really special part about this, that's not at all special, is that the mom, the birthing person, knows that these thoughts are bizarre. They know this doesn't make sense, but they can't help it. This is just something that's a playback loop in their brain. So OCD. Post-traumatic stress disorder. Approximately 9% of our mothers and birthing persons will experience a PTSD. Approximately 40%, if you can believe it, are going to report that they had a traumatic delivery or birth experience. About 9% of those are going to go on to legitimately be diagnosed with PTSD. And when they are diagnosed with PTSD, it's a legit diagnosis, like as if you were a soldier coming back from war. These women and birthing persons are explaining it to others as if they feel like their protective layers were stripped during the birth experience. So intrusive re-experiencing of maybe potential past traumatic events that were brought back to light during that time, flashbacks, nightmares, avoidance of stimuli associated with the event. I can't drive by the hospital, or even I don't even want to go back to my doctor's office because I associate my doctor or the hospital with the event. Increased arousal, anxiety and panic attacks, and sometimes that sense of just unreality and detachment. Communication is one of the most important things for preventing trauma during childbirth, and therefore preventing post-traumatic stress disorder. Bipolar mood disorders are typically very closely associated if the mom or birthing person themselves has postpartum, are very closely if they have ever had a diagnosis themselves of bipolar, or if there is someone in their family that has ever been diagnosed with bipolar. About 50%, however, of our women and birthing persons that are postpartum that are first diagnosed, it's the first time they've ever even, heard or known that that was something that could even happen to them. It happens postpartum. This is very much in line with what you would typically hear with a bipolar. There is bipolar 1 and bipolar 2, bipolar 1 being a little bit more elevated, and bipolar 2 being a little bit more the depression side of things. So the periods of the depression, the irritability, extreme highs, extreme lows. There are periods where the moods may seem better. There may be times where you notice really rapid speech, little need for sleep. So this is not, I'm having trouble sleeping because I'm thinking about things. This is like, I don't even feel like I need to sleep at all. Like my brain is just on overdrive and I have all of this energy. Overconfidence, impulsiveness, big thoughts, inflated sense of who they are, and in severe cases with bipolar, that can be delusions or hallucinations. Psychosis. This is the most rare and also the most serious of all of the perinatal mood and anxiety disorders. Many times, if bipolar is not treated, it can lead to psychosis. 1 to 2 in every 1,000 deliveries, the mom or birthing person will experience psychosis. This is mania, paranoia, suspiciousness, confusion, seeing and hearing things others don't, with hallucinations, strange beliefs, delusions, and a lot of times having difficulty communicating. Psychosis, some people will confuse obsessive compulsive disorder with psychosis. The main difference is when a mom or a birthing person tells you, this scares me, I'm having these thoughts, they scare me, therefore this is what I'm doing to try and quiet those thoughts. That's OCD. The thoughts are scary. The mom knows they're bizarre. In psychosis, these thoughts make sense. These thoughts make perfect sense to the person that is experiencing them, is what makes it so scary and such an immediate emergency. A lot of times too, with psychosis, there can be a religious connotation to it. I was told by God that I was supposed to do this. The devil was watching me. There are, even if the person is not themselves typically a religious person, a lot of times it's connected with psychosis. PMADS and the BIPOC community. I feel like it was really important to make this completely separate because I didn't want it to get washed up with the rest of statistics. We talked about 1 in 5 women birthing persons. It's 1 in 3 when we're talking about the BIPOC community. It is important to know that 1 in 3 as opposed to their white counterparts. Twice as likely to suffer in comparison. And the really awful part is half as likely to receive treatment.
I never thought that I'd end up with an emergency C-section or with pneumonia or in the ICU. So just starting out in my role of motherhood was slightly grim for me.
36-year-old Nikki Gill Adams and her husband welcomed their son Alexander into the world on April 1st, 2019.
I spent a week in the hospital, and before I left, the therapist came, and all I could do was cry. At that time, I wasn't well. My emotions at that time, this isn't what I thought it was going to be.
Postpartum depression is a condition in which the new parent may experience persistent feelings of sadness, emptiness, low energy, anxiety, irritability, and poor sleep or appetite. PPD affects over 11% of mothers in the U.S. A study conducted at Mount Sinai School of Medicine in New York found Black women were twice as likely to experience postpartum depressive symptoms as white women. The risk for Latin women was also almost twice as high.
Using that term postpartum is so tough, right? Labeling that you have postpartum depression, being a Black woman, the stigmas related to that. Girl, you just had a baby. You're supposed to be happy. This is what you prayed for.
The CDC points to specific socioeconomic factors to the likelihood of developing PPD, things like implicit bias linked to patient-provider communication, marital status, and the lack of access to employment with insurance coverage.
You're restricted to a certain pool of behavioral specialists or mental health specialists or therapists that may not look like us, that may not identify with our struggles.
Research suggests as many as 50% of all women with PPD do not report it. Even after diagnosis, Black women were 57% less likely to start treatment, and Latinas 41% less likely than white women.
The moment I started talking and figuring out that I was not alone, that was my place to turn around and begin healing.
Traditionally,
So I told you that PMADs don't discriminate, but why is this happening more to our women and birthing persons of color? Let's look at it right here. Systemic racism, discrimination. Adverse child experiences. We've all probably heard about our ACEs scores. That's what we're talking about, higher adverse child experiences. Lack of access to affordable quality healthcare, and also the ability to connect with the healthcare, with the providers that are comfortable treating perinatal mood and anxiety disorders. There's also a distrust in medical professionals, and that can come from a variety of reasons. Some of that is also because there's a real lack of representation in the medical system. So not being able to connect with someone that's caring for you in a position of power that doesn't look like you and doesn't understand your culture or your home. Unemployment, language barriers, that's huge. How many times are we trying to sign what we're saying or talking louder because we feel like if we talk louder, maybe it's going to make more sense. There aren't enough translators. There aren't enough ways to connect with our patients that don't speak the same language. Documentation stressors, this is huge, as well as family separation. When you are away from your family, they maybe don't live even in the same city, let alone maybe the same country. And so having that family separation, especially in some of these cultures that are very, very connected to family, and family is extremely important. There's generational trauma. There's trauma that women of color and birthing persons of color hold in their bones that they cannot even articulate and explain because of generations that have come before them. And that's something that we all need to do better with understanding. There's expectations and there's standards. So a perfect example is what we call the Marianismo standard in Latinx culture, which is this Virgin Mary, this divine entity. You can do all things. You're able to care for the baby and to cook and to take care of the family and to clean, and all of these standards that are also put on our BIPOC population as well. So what does it feel like? Whoever you are, what does it feel like when you are going through this? So we have a support group, and these are some questions that I asked the women in support group, and this is how they responded. This feelings of, it's scary, it's hopeless, and nobody understands me. It feels like an emergency only you know is happening. That was an awesome way to explain it. Everybody else is kind of going about their stuff, and you feel like everything's on fire. Feeling crippled with fear, no energy to care for themselves, let alone baby. And I will tell you, the number one thing that I hear is always, I feel like my baby or my family would be better off without me. This does not mean necessarily that mom is feeling like she is suicidal, but this is just like her legitimate, I am in a place where I feel like the family would just be better off without me because I don't feel like I know what to do. I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know what to do with my brain. I don't know why my mind is feeling the way that it is, why I can't just be happy. These are all of the thoughts going through mom's head. So what happens if we don't treat PMADs? So in persons and the mothers, we are finding that there is poor prenatal care, nutrition, substance abuse can be involved, ways to help self-medicate. We find the poor pregnancy outcomes. So we talked about that, insufficient weight gain, premature labor, STA, parenting behaviors because you aren't feeling connected with your child. There's a longer persistence of symptoms if we're not treating, and definitely increased risk of PMAD with subsequent children as well. What about for our babes? What's happening there? Poor mother-infant attachment, language delays, behavioral difficulties. We find lower cognitive performance, mental health disorders, attention problems. Babes can be withdrawn, fussy, or find that there's sleeping, feeding, eating disruptions. How do we treat? What do we do then? If we have to treat, how do we treat? So I love the picture in the middle here of this stool. And I've heard many people refer to this as, when you are sitting down on a stool, you want a good sturdy stool that is going to hold your bottom and hold your weight, and you're not going to fall down. So that's kind of the way we look at this whole picture when we are treating perinatal mood or anxiety disorders. Self-care. This is always so interesting to talk about because I think we have a misperception that self-care has to be something extravagant. I'm going to have the self-care of I'm just going to take the whole day and I'm going to go get my nails done and I'm going to go to the spa, or you know what? I booked a girl's vacation. I'm going to have some serious self-care. That is all self-care, and that would be fantastic. But when I'm talking about to my new moms or moms to be, I'm talking about whatever fills your bucket. And maybe for you, that's 10 or 15 minutes in a day. Maybe for you, it is just laying in the bathtub. I just want to lay in the bath by myself for 10 or 15 minutes, just by myself, to just feel like I am in another world and allow my body to just relax. Maybe it is watching your favorite Netflix show. Maybe you have to be sitting on the couch nursing or what have you, but while I'm sitting here, I'm going to laugh and I'm going to watch my favorite Netflix comedy or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be one of those big extravagant things. It can be just something that fills you. Maybe it's just getting out and walking to the stop sign and back. If you were somebody that used to exercise, or if that just feels good for you, there's a serious thing to endorphins. It doesn't have to be training, for a marathon, but just a little bit of movement that can also help to provide self-care as well. Social support. So social support is incredibly important because that helps the person struggling to know that you're not alone. You are not alone in this. You have got people that are here to love you and support you. The sad reality is there is not always a system in place at home for that love and support. So while I wish that every person that I talk to could have that when they go home, if it's not available there, maybe there's just one person, and maybe they're not family, but they're a friend, someone you can talk to. Maybe it is joining one of the many different support groups that we have available locally as well as internationally to connect with others that understand. They may not be your family, but they really are able to hold that space for the person that's struggling, and to just know that other people understand is huge to help augment healing. Therapy. Therapy is so important. The other part about therapy that is so important is not just having somebody to talk to that understands and is a therapist, but somebody that understands the perinatal time period, somebody that is trained to work with the perinatal person. It's a different type of approach to counseling. If you are going to therapy and you have you've never been to a therapist before, you are not a pregnant person, most of the time, if you're dealing with depression or anxiety, it's going to be, let's peel back that onion. Let's learn about your life. Let's find out what was going on when you were a kid and how all of that is shaping, what is going on now that you are an adult. That is great when you're not pregnant or when you're not a new parent, because when you are in that perinatal time period, you don't have time to peel back the onion. You need to put the fire out right now. You need to get the tools that when you are feeling like I can't do it anymore, my heart is racing, I'm panicking, I don't feel like myself, I can't make it another day. Yes, you can, because I'm going to reach in that toolbox and I'm going to remember what counseling taught me, what my therapist and I talked about. Super important. The really awesome thing is we have a lot of therapists and many more that are learning, but that do know and are working hard to be advocates and professionals in this arena. And we have them that take all types of insurance. We even have them that don't, that if you don't have insurance can work on a very sliding scale or even free. We have medication is another piece of the puzzle for many that are struggling. I get a lot of people that ask about, this is the safe medication? This is the only one that we should take? Is there a, list? The short answer is there is not just one. There are many. As a matter of fact, there are most of them are going to be safe that are for your mental health in regards to pregnancy and nursing. There are actually few that are unsafe. And we do have some really amazing perinatal psychiatrists that are available to see patients. And if they can't see patients, can consult, and I'm going to tell you all about all of this really cool stuff that we have, can consult with providers to make sure that the patient is on the right medication, or that providers are not taking pregnant or postpartum women off medication that is working for them. So why do we do this? I love this visual. This is a picture of a quilt that was that PSI remembers. It stands Postpartum Support International remembers. These hearts that are on this quilt are the names of women who have or birthing persons who have lost their lives because of perinatal illness. There is a binder that travels along with this quilt. So whenever this quilt is displayed, this binder goes with it. And in the binder are all of the stories of all of these women, what kind of women they were, what they enjoyed about life, a little bit about them. And so people can put pictures are in there too, so people can put names and faces with the hearts that are on the quilt. I tell women and birthing persons every day why we need to do this is because, number one, you are worthy. You are worthy of feeling well. You deserve to feel well. Apart from anything else, you are worthy. Number two, because this is not your fault. You didn't do any of this to yourself. You don't deserve this. You didn't wish this. You didn't create this. This is an illness. We can treat it just like anything else. Just like if we had someone that was dealing with diabetes, we would treat it. It's the same way if you're dealing with a perinatal mood or anxiety disorder. And also, if you can't, it's just not in your capacity at this moment to feel like you are worthy and you have to make it about your baby, then know that if you aren't okay, your baby can't be okay. You have to be able to be all right yourself, to be all right to take care of your baby and to take care of your family. So what can you do, right? What can you do? So if you're a provider, if you're a prescriber, get educated. You need to know about PMADs. You need to know how to talk to your patients. You need to know how to screen them and how to treat with medication. If you're a therapist, you need to get educated, just like we said, because you will know how to facilitate that therapy that's necessary to create that healing, to give the toolbox that's needed to get through those moments where the person feels like they just can't. If you're a nurse, if you're a childbirth educator or a birth doula, or maybe you're a community health worker, teacher, anything, get educated so that you can ask the right questions and then you can refer to the right people. You don't need to know how to diagnose, but if you know how to ask and who to turn to, that's enough. And if you're a friend or you're a family member, you need to get educated too. And you need to love your mom, your birthing person enough to reach out to the professionals who are educated if she needs it. Did you see the theme of the get educated? Super important, right? What can we do? Guess what? We've committed. We are committed to this. We get it. We need to help you get educated. We have secured SWMPQIC. So Region 8 has secured a grant through Blue Cross Blue Shield on advancing maternal health equity. We are using this entire grant to educate our healthcare professionals and our birthing persons and families on perinatal mood and anxiety disorders. Why? Because Dr. Angelou put it so perfectly, you do the best you can until you know better. And then when you know better, you do better. When you know better, you do better. When you know about perinatal mood and anxiety disorders, you know what to do to help treat them, to help the person struggling to get better. In turn, not only helping the mom, the birthing person, but helping the baby, the child, the family. So healthcare professionals, we're going to partner with PSI the Postpartum Support International, we are funding a full day components of care training for 100 maternal and infant health professionals in our region. That is equivalent to $425 that we are going to cover. It's also internationally recognized. It's evidence-based for health providers and social support network. So when I say healthcare professionals, I mean everyone. If you are a birth doula, if you are a childbirth educator, a social worker, a therapist, a doctor, a nurse, all of these that are listed here, any professional who works with perinatal women or birthing persons and infants. And on top of it, you get continuing education. So really, really nice to have that too. What about our families and our birthing persons? So we are partnering with certified perinatal mental health professionals. They are certified through PSI. And we are providing a reducing your risk class to all pregnant persons as well as their support people. So what's going to be really awesome about this class, it's only going to be an hour, but this is going to prepare them for what to expect in that postpartum period, both mentally and emotionally. We talk a lot, especially on, when we're discharging families, about things that you need to be looking for physically, physical symptoms, things that your body's doing. So this class is going to prepare for the postpartum, for the mental, the emotional. It's going to provide them with tools and the resources if they do begin to struggle. And most importantly, it's going to aid them in creating an emergency postpartum plan. So in this class, they will leave with a plan if they start to struggle. This is my emergency plan. I'm not okay. I know what to do. And we're going to provide $25 of compensation for all attendees that are able to be a part of the class. These are some national resources, the Postpartum Support International website. They have a helpline. The helpline is not 24/7, but if you contact them, you can leave, and nobody answers right away, you can leave a message and they will get back to you the next day within 24 hours. You can find local help as well on postpartum.net. There are support volunteers in all areas of the country that will connect families to local resources that can help. So I get calls from local support volunteers to help triage care for different families that are looking and didn't know what to do and have contacted PSI. The provider directory, there is a provider directory on the postpartum website here, and you can literally put in your insurance, your state, whatever it is that you are looking for. So are you looking for a therapist? Are you looking for a doctor? Are you looking for a psychiatrist? And it will tell you a whole list of providers in your area that feel comfortable treating perinatal persons. There are over 35 online support groups through PSI. I am one of the support group leaders. I facilitate the Latinx group, as well as their pregnancy postpartum, their fertility challenges group. I do their loss group. There is a ton of amazing, very specialized ones. There's one called Black Mamas Connect. There's one for birth trauma. There's one just for dads and partners, because we didn't even get to that, but partners and dads, 1 in 10 will struggle. It's not hormonally driven. It's a whole lifestyle driven change. So lots of support groups available. There's also a peer mentor program. So parents that are in need of extra support can be paired with a trained volunteer who is a recovered survivor and who is there to be a resource for them as well. Here's some other resources. The Maternal Mental Health Leadership Alliance, that's their website. And then the Health Resources and Services Administration just this year launched the, within this year, launched the Maternal Mental Health Hotline. This is a hotline, meaning it is 24/7. You can contact them. It's in over 60 languages. And if you contact them, they will get you connected with someone within, I believe they said the longest wait they've had has been 5 minutes where you can talk with somebody. There is also the suicide and crisis website, which has turned, it's 988lifeline.org now, and it's just 3 numbers, 988. If mom or birthing person or someone in the family is struggling, this is the number that you can call for emergency help right away. Michigan resources. We're really lucky. We have a chapter of Postpartum Support International Michigan. We are going to be having a meeting in March, and if you're interested, we can get more information to those that attended this meeting about that. But this gives information on local support groups, Michigan resources, educational training opportunities within the state. We also have an amazing resource through U of M. It's called MC3, and it is a psychiatric consult line for perinatal women and also for kids and young adults all the way through age 26. They also offer educational training opportunities in regards to mental health. But this is a wonderful way that I've been able to connect OB providers with a perinatal psychiatrist, so that if we have a person that is on a certain type of medication or needs to be put back on a certain type of medication, and that OB or primary provider doesn't feel comfortable with it, they're able to consult with a psychiatrist that can give them the information needed so that they can work together to make sure that the person being treated's care is going to be in the best interest and seamless. Pine Rest, this is another wonderful resource we have in Michigan. We have a mother-baby program at Pine Rest. It's in Grand Rapids. But what that is it's a partial hospitalization for pregnant or postpartum women or birthing persons. So it is an all-day program. You go in the morning and you're there till the later afternoon. And it is, you meet with a psychiatrist, so you are able to connect on the right medication. You have group therapy, you have individual therapy, you have bonding time with baby, learning how to do that. You can take your baby up to 9 months old, but you can still go to the program for up to 2 years postpartum. And then we have really local resources here too. We have counselors right here in our region that specialize in this arena, and that is gold. We also have a community perinatal emotional support group. That is the flyer on the side there. It's through Bronson, but it's for the community. And I facilitate this along with Rochelle McKenzie. She is someone who also does perinatal support in Battle Creek. But it is honestly the best part of my week. I tell every woman that I see appear on the floor, I tell them that this is a place where you can feel safe and you can feel comfortable and you can feel not judged. And how many places do you go? And for the first time you meet, you can really talk real talk. It's not the surface. It's just, this is how I feel. And people are like, I get it. And I'm here to love and support you. This is what it's all about. We are also going to do that reducing your risk class. So that is going to be starting in February. So all of this is available locally for anybody that is in this region. Finally, this is PSI's motto, but you are not alone. You are not to blame. And with help, you will be well. And that is my information at the bottom. So thank you so much. I will stop sharing here. And then, no, Elena, do we have time for questions right now, or do we want to move forward and then see questions afterwards? It's up to you.
Nope, you can go ahead and do questions if there are.
Any questions then?
We had someone in the chat ask if you would be willing to share your slides.
I am doing that. I will send them to you, Elena, and you can use those.
Great.
I do have a question. So when will applications or a sign up sheet be open for any of the professionals who would like to sign up for that perinatal mental health training that you were speaking about?
Right after this meeting. This is where we wanted to just kind of make everybody aware of all of this. And then everything, we've been working like so hard because we got the information from Blue Cross Blue Shield right before the holiday break. And then of course we kind of came back in January and basically we're already running behind because we were trying so hard to get everything ready. So after this, all of the information will officially be out and be disseminated to like everybody in the region. So offices and practices and community health workers and office spaces and just everywhere. So we will start doing applications right away. Other questions? Oh, do you ask that BIPOC, Black and Indigenous People of Color? It was, that's what it stood for. I'm sorry, I did not clarify that. Thank you for asking. Any other questions? Well, great. I must have been very thorough today. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to myself, or you can reach out to Elena or SWMPIC, and we can make sure that we get those answered. Thank you so much.
Do you see my notes? Cool. All right. So I'm going to talk now a little bit about the opportunities that are coming up for SWMPIC that you are able to participate in as a part of the region. So this first up is those awesome opportunities that Christina just shared about. So that first is the Components of Care 2-day training, and this is for any professional that is working with the perinatal population in Region 8. So you can see the link there. It is live, so it can be shared, and we will also send out all of these resources and links for registrations in our recap email that goes out to the collaborative as well. There's also the Reducing Your Risk class. So that is the class for community members who would like to come in and learn about how to prepare and know the signs and symptoms and what to do if they are experiencing perinatal mood and anxiety disorder. So that link is also live. And as Christina mentioned, those classes will be offered monthly starting in February. Next thing I would like to share about, if you have been to our regional quarterly collaborative meetings in the past, you know that we offer our virtual childbirth education classes. Those are also monthly. And the next class that will occur will also be in February. It's the 13th, 20th, and the 27th. These childbirth classes are 3 sessions of 1.5 hour classes that you have to attend all 3. But if you do, then you get your $75 gift card if we're from the region, appear on camera and participate with the instructor. And that link is also live, and you can go ahead and select the date that works best for you. Those are offered monthly, and we add them to the registration as they're available. Bianca, I'm going to pass to you real quick. You can talk about our breastfeeding classes.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Bianca Nash-Mio. I'm a lactation consultant, and I just wanted to talk about the breastfeeding classes that we have here at SWMPIC. They occur once a month for the class, and then also once a month for the virtual support group, especially to those of you who are professionals that are working with families. This is a really great opportunity for them to be able to spend a couple hours learning a little bit more about breastfeeding, either before they deliver or after. And then also have a community of support to be able to come to and ask more breastfeeding questions and just get a good understanding of like what the breastfeeding lifestyle is like, what to expect. And like I said, have a community of peer-to-peer support. So please share these flyers with your peers, share it with your patients, share it with your clients. If you're doing home visiting, please, we can, you can absolutely print these out and take them, or show them the SWMPIC social media sites, and they can follow and join the classes there. We are so happy and grateful that so many of you have sent this to your clients, because as many of you know, this class has been running, or our classes themselves have been running for like almost 2 years now, I believe. So it's really, really great. And we're really excited to keep offering this to the community. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Bianca. So our breastfeeding course, our class is a one-time 2-hour class that you get $25 for attending. And the support group does not have payment attached to it, but you can come as many times as you would like to for that group to, again, have that community with all other breastfeeding moms. And for those opportunities, they are often shared on our social media and our website, and sometimes shared out through email, but the most recent and easiest place to find them is on our social media outlets. Some other things that I want to share that are upcoming for SWMPIC is our next quarterly collaborative meeting, and that is actually going to be held on February 28th. And we are going to do something based off your feedback. So we always ask at the end of these meetings for you to complete a really quick evaluation so we can get a better understanding of how to improve moving forward. And one of the things that we really heard this last time when we met in the fall, after we talked about data, we were like, the feedback we got was, you know, this is all really great things. There's improvements happening in the community, but there are still things that need to be done, and really wanting to focus on what are some of those upstream things that we can do. We as in SWMPIC, we as in residents of Region 8, we as in just individuals, what is it that we can do for our impact? And so there on the 28th, we will be doing an activity that it's called Bar High. And it's the Bay Area Regional Health Inequities Initiative. And it really does look at some of those kind of upstream factors. And then we'll kind of talk about what we can do, we as SWMPIC and as individuals moving forward. So we heard your feedback, and we are bringing that to the collaborative. Registration will be required from this point on out, so we can weed out some of the gift card participant issues that we've been having. And so we also will do registration because there'll be 2 of these opportunities that are going to be offered at 2 different times on the 28th. Another opportunity that is coming up, likely in April, is a partnership with MDHHS. We're going to having a maternal infant health and equity improvement plan town hall meeting to get feedback and thoughts from you all. And I'm not going to steal the thunder on this because Emily is here, and I'm sure she'll share a little bit about what those are. But there will be one of those town hall meetings hosted in Region 8 for all of you. And so we would love to have you come. We will definitely share out information once we have those dates and times and locations really nailed down. So those are the opportunities that are on the horizon. Are there any questions? All right, then I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm gonna pass the mic over to Emily.
Thanks, Elena. And I'm going to share my screen really quickly. Okay, do you see my notes pages or the regular? Okay, I'm all set. All right, so I'm going to go through these quickly here. So first thing I want to mention is that our quarterly Mother Infant Health and Equity Collaborative meetings, we hold these 4 times a year. These are open to everyone. Sorry about the dog noise. Registration is required so that you can get the Zoom link. But it is free to attend, and these are virtual meetings. So our next meeting is scheduled for February 16th, and it will be from 1 to 3 p.m. And I'll send these slides to Elena so she can send them out. So you'll be able to just click on the links, and you'll be taken right to the registration for the meetings that you see here. We'll be starting to be kind of a prelude to the town hall meetings. We're going to start to talk about the next iteration of the Mother Infant Health and Equity Plan at our February meeting, and looking for some feedback and from everyone in attendance. So we hope that you will join us for that meeting. Also wanted to mention, or as kind of a reminder, our Maternal Infant Health Summit is scheduled for June 21st and 22nd. This will be in person at the Lansing Center. Registration is set to open on March 20th. So as soon as we have the link for that, we'll make sure that that gets to Elena and she can get it out to all of you. And as Elena mentioned, we are bringing back the regional town halls. So the last time we had town hall meetings was in 2019. So obviously the pandemic had something to do with us not being able to host these for a few years, but we are bringing them back. So each region will be hosting a town hall meeting. And as Elena mentioned, once the date and location has been confirmed for Region 8, we'll make sure that all of that information gets out to all of you. And the basis of the town hall meetings is it's an opportunity to bring together community members, professionals, healthcare providers, basically anyone from the community. And we're really looking to get your feedback and your input on the next iteration of the Mother Infant Health and Equity Improvement Plan, but also your feedback, your thoughts, also help inform the work that the collaborative does, as well as MDHHS programs in general. So the majority of the meeting is dedicated to small group discussions and wanting to hear about what's going well in your community, if there's areas of improvement, your suggestions for how to make things better, and really just getting your thoughts about everything related to birthing people, babies, families, and kind of everything perinatal. And then I just have some resources I wanted to share with all of you. I feel like it's been a little bit since we've been together. So I wanted to bring your attention to a document that can be accessed online. So Michigan is participating in the CDC's COVID-19 Pregnancy and Neonate Surveillance Project. And so we've been participating since March of 2020. And our epidemiologists have put together this document. The document only contains data from 2020 so far, but it does, as you can see on the screen, it talks about racial disparities in the data. There's it's about a 3-page document. So it also discusses pre-pregnancy conditions and COVID complications. It's really kind of an interesting document. So the link is here on the page, on the slide. So like I said, when Elena sends it out, you'll be able to just click on that and it'll take you right to the document. But you can also access it on the Maternal Child Health Epi page, which that website's also there on the slide for your reference. The Infant Safe Sleep brochure has been translated into additional languages, and you can find the brochure through the link that I've put here on the slide, and that link will take you to the brochure in all of the available languages that we have, and it's the Baby We've Got Your Back resource page. Also wanted to share that there is a vaccine hesitancy toolkit that's available. This has been out for a little bit, but like I said, I feel like we haven't been together for a little while, so I wanted to include this here. So the toolkit is on the MDHHS COVID-19 webpage, and that's linked there, and it's called Best Practices to Overcome Vaccine Hesitancy. And so this would be good for addressing any COVID-19 vaccine work as well as childhood immunizations. As we know, some of our rates have dropped a bit during the pandemic. And then this was released just last week, I believe. Michigan Substance Use Vulnerability Index. So the Vulnerability Index uses data related to access to services, social vulnerability, and substance use burden, and it creates a county level vulnerability score. So you can go onto this index, you can look up your county and see kind of what the vulnerability index score is. So the link to the index is included here on the slide, as well as additional substance use disorder resources on the michigan.gov/opioids page, which I've also included here for you. And then finally, the Michigan Maternal Mortality Surveillance Program released a couple documents last week. One is an update to the data that had previously been released. So the data update now includes data from 2015 to 2019, whereas previously it only went up to 2018. So within that document included our causes of maternal death, disparities in maternal mortality, and then recommendations to reduce maternal mortality in Michigan. And then the second document is a maternal mortality surveillance report. So it includes an analysis of contributing factors and aligned recommendations for the causes of death that are included in the report. So those are directly linked again on the slide. You can also find them on the Michigan Maternal Mortality Surveillance page, which that address is there as well. And there's other lots of other reports included on their webpage as well. And I know that Elena sends these out, but if you are interested in receiving them directly into your inbox, our maternal infant health and equity email updates, there's a link there. You can sign up to have them emailed directly to you. And then this is just my contact information, our Division of Maternal Infant Health webpage, as well as the webpage for the doula initiative. And then if you are interested in subscribing to the Michigan Doula Initiative email, receiving emails and updates from the Doula Initiative, there's a link that you can use to do that. And that is all I had for today. Does anybody have any questions? I will send Elena the slides and you'll be able to access all of the information.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Emily. All right. We are going to take a really quick pause and ask that if you would please fill out our evaluation. As we mentioned before, these really help us in planning upcoming quarterly collaborative meetings and what we decide to focus on and have conversations, what to do like in person, virtual, how to make it more something that you are able to attend easier, all of those things. So I will go ahead and put that link into the chat, or you can hold up a mobile device on the QR code and it should bring you to the evaluation. So either one, if you would take a moment to do it though, it's super helpful for us. Also, if you didn't get a chance to sign in, if you could do that as well with the link, the registration link from the chat. Next, we are going to take a pause and do our open sharing. So this is an opportunity for all of you to share the really great things that you have going on in your agencies and in your county. So you heard the really awesome things that SWMPIC has planned, some really great things that MDHHS has going on at the state level. And so we really want to hear what's going on across the region as well. So I'm going to take a pause, and anybody who is interested in sharing an announcement or anything that they have, whether that be an event or initiative or news, go ahead and unmute your mic and share with the group. We'll also, if someone unmutes and shares, we can also include that information in our recap email that goes out after our meeting. Ruth.
Yes, I wanted to come on this meeting today. It was recommended by one of your regulars, and I'm really glad for it. First of all, the information in the presentations was outstanding. I had no idea there was such great coordination going on, and this is going to be a valuable service. I'm really excited to know about it. But the reason I wanted to be here was to let you know that we are a new nonprofit in Southwest Michigan. It's called United Through Motherhood. I'm the president. I'm the only officer. I have an advisory board that helps me with strategy and other things. We received an $1,100 grant about a year, last fall, and that enabled us to provide diapers to 3 more community partners. I just received a $10,000 grant from the Berrien Community Foundation. For reasons, I will share my presentation that I gave to the local Rotary, and if Eleni wants to send it, but diaper shortages, diaper insufficiency is a serious problem. The women and I that started this thought we were doing it because diaper insufficiency we thought was a Black problem. But the more research that we did, the more we got into it, we found out it cuts across all socioeconomic lines. It's a Black problem, a white problem, a Hispanic problem, other problem. It's everywhere. And the 2016 article in Pediatrics, the Journal of the American Pediatric Association, said that diapers should now be considered among the critical needs for infants, along with food, shelter, and medical care. The need for disposable diapers is this catch-22. You can't access daycare if you don't have disposable diapers. So you can't go to work or finish your education or do a lot of things that you need a sitter for, baby care, daycare. So you have to have disposable diapers, but people who receive state or federal assistance are prohibited from using those funds for disposable diapers. Laundromats won't take cloth diapers. They're regulated because diarrhea is so contagious, so there's none. And without these disposable diapers, parents are pretty much hamstrung. I have found that the cheapest diapers at Meijer's are the house brand. They're about 21 cents a piece. So a package of diapers, if I were to get enough diapers for 1 month for us baby size 3, that's the most popular size, it would cost me about $40 a month with using the house brand at Meijer. The next brand, it's either Huggies or Pampers. The next one up is like $43. And the other one, whether it's Huggies or Pampers, is $47. If I didn't have access to a big box store like Meijer, if I went to CVS, they have their own house brand, Huggies and Pampers, but the same diapers I could get for $38 at Meijer, the house brand at CVS is $99. The Huggies amount is $137, and the amount of Pampers is $150 something. So if you don't have transportation to a big box store, you're going to pay through the nose for diapers at a more convenient store. So we're trying to make this diaper bank available in Southwest Michigan. I've applied for more grants that will help us reach agencies in Van Buren County, Cass County, and Michiana, the South Bend area. But until those come in, we are now restocking our partners in Berrien County. And if you know families or agencies, we need to go through agencies. We don't have the resources to vet people who really need diapers from those who are freeloading. And this is what my advisory board was really bent out of shape about, that there have been these other diaper events and people who can afford them freeload on them, and the needy people don't get them. So we're going through agencies that already provide wraparound support services. So if you have an agency like that or know someone that does that, we're working with Hope Covenant in South Haven and another group, Holy Family Healthcare in Hartford. Just keep us in mind. It's United Through Motherhood. We don't have a website yet. I'm putting in a grant to build a website. I tried doing it myself. It was vile. I should not be allowed to try to do these things, but we are going to try and get a grant for one. In the meantime, just use my email address. As you see my name on the screen, Ruth Kramer, it's all one word, Ruth Kramer, Kremer @comcast.net. And I will get back to you. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Rue. I can share your contact information as well in the email.
Great, great.
Other things that are going on across the region.
Elena, it's Cheryl Postma. Is it okay if I speak for a moment?
Absolutely.
I did just want to let everybody know that we opened a diaper bank here at the Hope Parent Resource Center. It's been about 3 months going, but we just wanted to let everybody know we are serving families the first and the third Monday of every month from 10 till 2. And families, they can come into the building and then they get the diapers and the wipes, and we do give them diapers for 2 weeks. And we just wanted to let people know on our Facebook and our website for the Hope Parent Resource Center, we do list the dates, but it is every Monday, the first and third Monday of every month from 10 till 2. We did try some evening hours and we just didn't have anybody come. So that is why at this point we're just sticking to the 10 to 2, and we may try it again at a different point, but we tried it for about a month and a half and we didn't have families come. I think we had one family and we utilize volunteers. So at this point, but we did want to let you know that that's available.
Great. Thank you, Sherry. All right. Anybody else have anything to share?
Kai is 4, right?
Yeah, he is. I was hoping to share, my friend and I are co-hosting a mom-to-mom sale in April. And the benefits are going table rental fees. It's free to come to the mom-to-mom sale. Table rental fees are all going to the Three Rivers Pregnancy Helpline. The date for that is April 29th from 9 to 3 at Moore Park Community Church. So we're really looking for like moms who are trying, or parents who are trying to sell used equipment or clothes, because that's usually cheaper for people to buy secondhand that way.
Awesome. Thank you, Samantha. If you would share that information to me, I'll include it in the email that goes out.
Also, sharing that information with Elena is really important too, because we would love to put that stuff too on social media, that this is stuff that's happening in our region. So Facebook and Instagram, please, all of this good information that you're giving us here, share, don't forget to share with Elena so we can also post it on social media.
Any other things that people would like to share with the group? All right.
I have a quick question. I'm sorry, I have a toddler in the background.
You're fine.
So I don't know how well this is going to go. And
I get it. I really do.
So I am hosting a training on craniosacral therapy in the fall, and particularly this modality of therapy is aimed towards like infants. And so I didn't know if that would be something that, as I'm listening to other people share about things, that you might want to post on social media about things that could benefit the community. It's more for practitioners, though it is open to moms to take the training if that's something they want to do in order to benefit their family. So I didn't know if that would be something I could share with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. We have both practitioners and health professionals as well as community on our Facebook and Instagram. So we can absolutely share it.
Thanks.
Yeah. Anything else? All right. Well, we have some extra time that we're giving back to you for your day, but we are very thankful that you all came and spent time with us and really sat around and learned more about a super important topic and the things that SWMPQIC is trying to do. And I appreciate all of you for sticking around through our tech woes that we were focusing on in the beginning. So we got started a little bit late, but we still got you some time at the end. So thank you all so much. And if you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to reach out to me. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.